Welcome back to New Day. Time now to take a look at the newspapers and tell you exactly what they are talking about. Let me start with the Ghanaian Times this morning. On the front page, a photograph of President Mahama there, and it says President charges polytechnics to stick to core mandates. The president raising some concerns there as to exactly what those institutions do, and is asking them to stick to their core mandate. Also on the front page, court direct government to publish details of bus rebranding contract. That comes with a photograph of the Chief Justice, Mrs. Georgina Theodora Wood there. The story, however, is on the back page of the paper. Also here, GES orders withdrawal of a cultic book. I'm sure you know that story already. A book that is said to be in our educational system, GES, asking that it should be withdrawn. And then 137 people still on death row in Ghana. That's something really worth talking about. And then the bigger story is that the EC agrees to validate the register. That's on the front page, the front page caption of the Ghanaian Times. But the story is on page 4. When we come into looking at the details, we'll take a look at that exactly what is in that story. But it's on page 4 of the Ghanaian Times. The Daily Graphic has a couple of stories on the front page. Beginning, provide full disclosure on MT buses branding, and then court orders Ministry of Transport. Okay, so the court asking the Transport Ministry to provide full disclosure of whatever went into that contract. Also on the front page, NPP launches election 2016 fundraising campaign. One big issue we will talk about this morning. And then my government mandate will be renewed due to impressive record. That's President Mahama there, and you can see him on the front page unveiling a plaque of a two-story office complex for the Achim Mansa District Assembly, and President Mahama saying that his mandate will be renewed. If you go back to the front page, female community police assistants complete training in Winneba. They are to support policing in our communities. That's on the front page and the back pages of the Daily Graphic. Let me also take a look at the Today newspaper. Has government, it says, after today's expose, government moves to build classrooms for Mepe RC Junior High School. It has a picture of the school and the smiling Samuel Okujato Blackwood, Deputy Education Minister there. And also, man chops off brother's hand over mattress. Today newspaper also carried the story, make Smarties contract public. That's on the front page of the Today newspaper. Let's go to the Daily Guide this morning. It has photographs of Baba Kamara, National Security Advisor, and Prophet T.B. Joshua. The stories are, however, on the pages 2 and 3. It says, bombshell, Al-Qaeda attack real, says National Security. And also, Ghana in crisis, Nana declares. And 3.6 million Ghana cedis Smarties deal stripped. It has a photograph of Selassie Ibrahim. Her company was involved in that. Daily Guide has those on the front page. The BFT has cashew agriculture gold mine. That's what the BFT is saying. Cashew agriculture gold mine. And also fleecing the motorist, the never-ending potholes near Amrahia toll booth. Okay, so you can see the photograph of that road there when you're getting closer to the toll booth. Uncomfortable for drivers. A lot of complaints have come in there. And then SEC assures of capital market growth. That's on the front page. A lot of stories on the back page as well. You can grab a copy and go through that. Let me also do this one, the head newspaper. It comes with a photograph of President Mahama. It says Mahama is a very popular leader. That's according to Mr. Kwachi Ofosu. And then Mahama deceiving Ghanaians with accounting to the people. That's according to the NPP. Mahama deceiving Ghanaians with accounting to the people. That's according to the NPP. And then 14% of Africans pay bribe for health care. That's according to a survey conducted. We'll take a look at exactly what's in that survey. But we are told that 14% of Africans pay bribe for health care. If we turn to the back page, some small stories there. Andy Murray reaches third round of Monte Carlo Masters, and then Kotoko reject Tumu Park well, we'll see what's in that. And then from Grant to meet Man United youngster over nationality switch. Those stories are on the back page of the head newspaper. And let me quickly wrap up with the Finder. And it has a front page story, Ghana's debt to hit 114.7 billion cedis by close of the year. That's according to Isaac Edu of the Finder. So we're told that Ghana's debt to hit 114.7 billion. And then banking sector performs poorly in first quarter of 2016. IMF reviews program with Ghana. Those are the front pages and back pages of the newspapers. I'm grateful that you stayed there. Let me quickly tell you who my guests are whilst we wait for my third guest. To my extreme right is a presidential staffer, Mr. Edward Sari, and then to my immediate right is a lecturer at the University of Education, Winnipeg, Dr. Ahmed Chinapa. Gentlemen, welcome to the show this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us. Now, let's start with some news on the front page of the Daily Graphic. The NPP launching election 2016 fundraising campaign. And the story on page 16 says that the NPP has launched its 2016 fundraising campaign with a call on every single supporter and sympathizer of the party to donate generously to the party to prosecute its agenda for a change of government through the ballot box. Now, the fundraising campaign targets every single Ghanaian who is depressed and dejected at what the party calls the sorry state in which our country is. That's the story on page 16 of the Daily Graphic. Let me quickly welcome my third guest. He's a member of parliament for Ayawaso West Wogon of the NPP, Mr. Emmanuel Ejako. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Great. Right, so let me quickly start with you. So where are they launched yesterday?
No,
you were not there. Great. But your party has kick-started election 2016 with the launch of the fundraising campaign. Let's quickly look at exactly what the NPP intends to do as far as raising resources to prosecute its campaign agenda. How would this be key to the party's attempt at capturing power 2016?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for inviting me to the platform. Secondly, I'll use this opportunity to say a very good morning to our cherished viewers. I think that every political activity needs some fuel to run. And the fuel that runs, one of the major fuels that run any political activity, in life generally, any activity needs some fuel. And like I said, the fuel, one of the is money. The other one is really the human capital, the human. So elections are up, and you will need money for all sorts of things. I think that we are only doing the necessary thing by asking our members, our sympathizers, and Ghanaians generally to contribute to the prosecution of the campaign. It is done everywhere. I mean, in the previous elections, we have done things like this. And outside this jurisdiction, people have always contributed. I think that the one that we can all speak of is the Obama campaign, where they launched a blitz, and everybody, college students, very ordinary people in America, contributed their bits to this. I think it was probably one of the most successful fundraisers that happened in American politics. Really and truly, politics is essentially not about a few people, it is about everybody. And I think that there's a saying that you put your money where your mouth is. Is that the idiomatic expression?
Right.
Yes. The thrust of what we are doing today is that it is me and you, the ordinary Ghanaian, I am not a lawyer. The lawyers should forgive me for using their term. The lawyers have been saying the reasonable man, the man in the street. My sister Kusua Monsan, who fries yam in front of here, or my brother Kwesi Bedu, who drives a taxi. They face the challenge and the difficulty of poor governance every day. So what we are saying is that put your money where your mouth is. Big business sometimes will contribute. It is known, and we cannot run away from it. But we are saying that the reasonable man, the man in the street, must own this and contribute, so that at the end, when the change comes, then all of us will know that we all contributed. So this victory does not belong to a few people, but this victory belongs to all of us. The fuel that will run this is money, and we are asking every Ghanaian living everywhere to make a little contribution so that we can prosecute this change agenda.
I'm grateful for that. Let me come to Mr. Iduasari. Raising funding resources for campaigns. The NPP has just started this. It's not new though, but the suggestion is that the country is in a state of despair, and so there is a need to rescue. That's according to the NPP. One way out is to raise funding to prosecute a campaign to capture power. How would the NDC take this?
State of despair. That I think I beg to differ on. See, in life, I have a view that you make life what it is. Whatever state of mind or however you condition your mind, it gives you that result. So then people can continue to think that Ghana is like we are in a state of despair, and that's it. But some of us don't think so, not because we think there are no challenges, or everything is fine, or we are living in paradise. We are not there yet. But as a young man, still growing though, I have not lived to experience any paradise. I've been growing up. Every step on the way, you encounter one challenge or the other. So it is your disposition that determines how you surmount those challenges. And as a nation, that is we've been in that progression since I started growing up till this time. I've seen governments come and go, and including the NPP between 2001 and 2008. I have never seen any presentation of paradise on this earth or anything that has deteriorated so badly since they left power. Whether it is water that we have lost, or whether it is housing that we haven't been able to do anything about, whether it is school buildings that we haven't been able to put up, whether it is roads that we haven't been able to improve, or the energy situation, or whatsoever. Let's look all around us. So for anybody to describe the situation we find ourselves now as a state of despair, it can only be in their minds. For me, the reality does not dovetail into that thinking, in my opinion, because we've moved on. Ghana has improved in the last 8 years since the NDC took over. Ghana has seen massive developmental programs. And the president is only on his second region, and it looks like we every day I look at newspapers front pages and you see massive infrastructural developments all over the place. So how can somebody tell me, I live in Adenta, my family lives there. Those days you turn on the taps there and you hear whistling from the tap. That's all you get.
But you consider there are challenges.
So,
and the NATO says, for instance,
all I'm saying,
used to be one of the dominant sectors of
dominant
the economy.
sector before they left power. Don't forget, before they left power, rice, whatever, imports, if you recall, please, we can give you the history. Like I said, where was the condition of agriculture and where did they place it? When they get up, they tell you, oh, we used to have the Pualugu this, we had all the, state-owned, whatever that, at a point in time were divested. You ask yourself whether in their 8 years they were able to revamp state farms, food distribution, and all those other ones that they said were collapsed. Do you understand? So please, we have facts and we have figures, and I don't, you see, when the population is expanding, certainly there are indices that will vary over a period of time. So you don't dwell on just figures and leave the fact that population is also having its toll on some of these. But there are policies that one can follow and know. In Agric, for instance, this broiler project is ongoing. That's for the poultry. Right. Okay. And there are other, the block farm project, which was also started, the Youth in Agric thing. They are ongoing. You may not see the what do you call it? How it is developing that much. But go on the ground. I was in the Food Agric and Cocoa Affairs Committee in Parliament when I was there, and we toured this country, and we know what's going on. So when people sit in Accra and just make things look like Ghana is hungry, and I've traveled across West Africa and other parts of Africa. My brother, when you see a country that is hungry, you will know. People are hungry. People are in conditions that look like despair. All right. You can tell Ghana is nowhere near that kind of country. And please, we should learn to count our blessings. The president has said so countless times. We should learn to count our blessings. You understand? To the fact that in as much as they want to win elections, they can couch messages that will make Ghanaians look like they are almost dying. But please, we also want to present the evidence-based, campaign for them to see that, look, we have not squandered your money as they have always said. You took 37 billion, 200 billion. Today is one amount, tomorrow is the other. And yet, we haven't seen anything. Now, the evidence, we are proving to Ghanaians right at your backyard. This is what we've taken, this is how much money we've taken, this is what we are doing with it. So for anybody to suggest that we are in a state of despair, if they are doing their fundraising, praise the Lord. We think that it's a good thing to do as they want to get into their campaign. They need money to do so. They need people. Their sense of organizational skill will determine how much money they can raise, and I think that is a fantastic move to make. When it gets to the time, we will also put out as a party how we raise funds to also prosecute our campaign.
Oh, Mr. Dress, I'm grateful. Let me go to Dr. Ahmed Chinapon. So let's tie in political party funding. You know, when we started our journey of democracy, this was a big issue, particularly when ruling government were said to have used incumbency advantage to to take what does not belong to them but to the state. Let's start in political party funding, and then the fact that Nana Addo is suggesting that the country is in such a state that the only way to rescue it is to get the NPP in power.
Well, let me say good morning to your cherished viewers. And if you take the daily graphic, you look at the front page, we have Nana Addo's picture, NPP launches election 2016 fundraising campaign. On the other hand, we have my government's mandate will be renewed. And I make reference to this because of the last statement that you made. That is Nana Addo saying that John Mahama should be voted out because he's not done well. And on the daily graphic, John Mahama is saying that, look, renew my mandate because I've done well. And I'm not surprised we have these two positions because after all, it's an election year.
Right.
But let's try and speak to the particular issue at stake. That is MPP launching a fundraising campaign. I think Honorable Jacob made reference to the United States. In fact, I mean, in most advanced democracies, political parties and individuals are assessed based on their ability to raise funds. Based on their ability to raise funds. Today, as we speak, the Democratic Party in the U.S. is more or less in a stalemate in terms of who becomes the leader. And under normal circumstances, traditionally, the president, like Obama, shouldn't be involved that much in active politics. But today, he's the chief fundraiser because they don't have a substantive candidate. I mean, fundraising is always and has always been fundamental to every successful political organization. So I don't think there's anything wrong. And as the Honorable Member of Parliament indicated, this is not the first time that they've done it. I mean, they did it in 2012. This time they are coming out with another one. The interesting thing is that if you read the story, and if you had followed the story, you see that there are a number of things that are in. For instance, they are talking of Visa card, MasterCard. I mean, they have a website, iamfornana.com. You know, I raise these issues because of the caliber of people that we have in this country. How many people are that sophisticated in going to more or less, I mean, how many people have Visa card? How many people have MasterCard? You know what I'm saying? But it's a good thing. It's a good thing. But you see, the point that needs to be made, especially when it comes to fundraising and in our politics, and within the spectrum of how we describe politicians, corruption, is that there's always the need for there to be transparency when it comes to how you raise funds. It's very, very important. Transparency. In the sense that, look, government, especially incumbent presidents, have always been accused of incumbency advantage, where they spend so much money and stuff like that. If you remember, 2012 was a typical one where government overspent its budget. Today, I would have wished that. And it's even part of the law. The law says that political parties are supposed to declare their account.
Their account, sure.
You know, to the Electoral Commission. But I can tell you for a fact that no political party in this country does that, especially the two major ones. So I think it's very important for political parties to declare how much they make. What do they use the money for? Who contributes to what? You know, if you don't do that, then you are bound to face problems. Because today it is NDC who is in power. Tomorrow it will end, and the accusation will keep going around. So I think it's a good thing by the MPP. I would have wished to know how much they are expecting, you know, so that we'll be able to track how successful they are in terms of fundraising. And as I said, look, your ability to raise funds, because Nanado said, and his call for money is hinged on the fact that people who think John Mahama hasn't done well should contribute to it. So let's say if you have 14 million, what do they call it? Voters. And you have 10 million contributing. I mean, adversary will be shocked. I mean, he's going to be worried. Definitely. Because if you have 10 million people contributing, even just one Ghana, and they are able to, it's not the money, but the commitment. You don't put your money.
He said so.
No, that is it. So I wouldn't give NPP money if I don't want another to win. So for somebody to contribute just one,
adversary will never contribute.
just one Ghana. So I think moving forward, look, our democracy is growing. These things are things that normally I think they help in propelling the forward march of our democracy. But once we do this, we also have to do it right. Let's try as much as possible to be open and transparent when it comes to these issues, especially issues of money. And most importantly, when in this campaign, you can see from the way the campaign is shaping up that corruption is going to be a center stage. Because you hear Jomama talking about what? Look, I'm building infrastructure. MPP saying that at what cost?
At what cost?
You understand what I'm saying? So if there's a saying, I don't know whether I'm right, that he who asks for equity must come with what? With clean hands. So if you are asking for at what costs, then I think it's also important for the good people of this country, especially when the public is contributing, to know how much you are getting, what you are using the money for.
I'm grateful for that. Mr. Jacob, you wanted to do a reaction?
Yes.
I saw you nod your head when Mr. Duasari was talking. Quickly before we look.
Two things. I think that Mr. Janapo raised the issues about
Dr.
things like, Dr. Janapo, sorry. It doesn't matter. Dr. Janapo raised the issues about some of the methods. MasterCard, Visa card. I agree, it is at a certain echelon of our society. But interestingly, I think that today the most widely used medium is a telephone, and everybody buys a scratch card.
Sure.
The big platform is the scratch card application. So I want to place on record that we are not looking at a certain class of people. It is a very broad-based approach. Everybody buys a scratch card. Some of us can only buy 1 CD at a time. What we are saying is that if you buy 1 CD, 50% of it goes to the party and the platform owner that gave us that opportunity. So it is not a limited, confined approach at a certain class. We are using probably the widest markets available.
All options on board.
Yes. The second thing, and I don't know, because if I want to run a commentary on it, it might take a little while. You said that our position is very clear. Nana Addo Dankwa's position is clear, that this country is in distress.
Mr. Dresser doesn't believe so.
Well, I would be extremely surprised if Edwasari believes it. I mean, he would lose his job. By the time he gets to the office.
Please.
You understand?
Not at all.
He would lose his job if Edwasari gives
please.
the slightest incline that that this nation is in distress.
Should I
They
also
don't
say
see,
that
they don't hear.
If you say the opposite, it means you will be suspended.
They don't, okay, all right. They don't see. They don't see. They don't hear. The three wise monks. What is it?
Right.
They don't speak about it. But you see, I mentioned my sister Efiebedu, who is frying yam. Or Kwesi Bedu, who is driving a taxi. What is distress? How can we define it? It is not the way I look at it. It is not the way Edwasari looks at it. There are indices that we can use generally to determine whether we are distressed or we are not distressed. Even the IMF is now saying that we are distressed.
In what document?
The IMF. In what
In
document?
what document?
But the World Bank also said that we will see some significant growth in 2016.
Oh, did you read yesterday? They have come back to revise those figures down and say that we cannot meet those targets. Even the president of the IMF is beginning to wonder whether we can sustain our debt repayments.
In what document?
I don't need a document.
No, we do. Because
I
you can't just sit on TV
when
and
I came
push.
here, are you telling me? At least I can tell you.
No, give us the source.
I
Then
can tell you.
We can.
In the budget that we just did, beyond paying compensation, and indeed, I want to state as a matter of fact that even compensation, which entails salary, social security, pensions, this nation, I don't want to say this government, I want to be charitable and say this nation, beyond paying salaries and having to borrow money every month to pay the salaries, we cannot even fulfill our obligations with pensions.
Was it different under MPP? Tell us. Was it different?
I'll get you the chance to react.
You have your chance.
Right. These are questions I expect you to poke to.
You have your chance to react because I want him to.
Was it different?
Respectfully, when it was your turn, I kept quiet.
Go ahead. No worries. Go ahead.
So, obviously, this nation is in distress. Every economic indicator, and that is independent of you and me. But you know, sometimes I wish that when me and him as politicians come here and we begin to argue, this economy is tanking, manufacturing is contracting, agric is contracting. You see, it is convenient for him to say that what happened in your turn. Sometimes I wish that you have all the data here. Ask your backroom staff to bring the data. Book no lie.
So under you, like he said,
yes,
you think that the easier option is for him to ask how it was under your administration.
Yeah, I mean, you see, it is a bad attempt at equalization.
Okay, all
But
right.
we can go back to the figures. I don't have it here. Your backroom staff could probably pull all of it. This is,
All
if
right.
you go to Ghana statistical data, they can pull everything here.
Okay.
You understand me? The reality is that this economy is in distress. I came here, you are reading debt overhang. When we do the budget, beyond paying salaries, this government cannot take care of anything else. All it does is just to take money to finance interest payments.
Okay.
And you see, when you say this, they will say, oh, when you talk about inflation, the people in Tiboso or Trawamanya or Sisiama, where I come from, it doesn't mean anything to them. But I can tell you, it means a lot to them. My brothers that live in Tiboso, when they want to come to Azisawa, so that they can come to Dom, every week the price they have to pay to board the transport is coming up.
Okay. All right. We need to move on.
When they go
So
to
quickly
Agomanya
wrap up
market
for me. Let
to
me
buy
get Mr. Professor to
Chalewate,
react to
every
them.
week it is. And you see, when you tell me that inflation or the debt overhang or the stability of the currency does not matter, it reflects in the things they do. It reflects in their lives becoming more difficult.
All right. Mr. Jacko, I'm grateful. Mr. Dasa, quickly, just a reaction and then we'll
You see, I wanted you to pose a question. He was talking about the budget and how much of it goes into salaries and emoluments. And I'm asking whether it was anything different in their 8 years when they were in power.
how much we're spending on compensation
Yes, and all of that.
as a nation.
Was it different? And what is the what are they bringing to change that? Those are the things we are not hearing. We are only hearing complaints. Okay, it is hard, it is difficult, we are in despair,
But is
we
it
are in
not hard?
distress.
Is it not difficult?
Mr. Jacko, he allowed you to speak, so can they allow you to go on?
It's contagious sometimes when others are speaking. And, you know, so these are the questions that I'm talking about. That, you see, I have not, this country, we are moving steadily. Okay, you cannot just switch from a process, a progression, to an extreme end. You need to slowly, or let me say progressively, amend. We have chosen that for a project like, we've taken a loan from China and we've used it for a project like the gas plant. Okay, it is something that can pay for itself over a period of time. Do you understand? So when you have such projects or loans taken for such projects, you know you have not wasted the money. You have not taken loans to just say eat and that's it. You know, with time, these projects, these hospitals that they are building, some of them will pay for themselves over a period of time. So you cannot just say that we're paying loans and we are paying interest rates and blah, blah, blah. So it's a wasted investment. It's not.
All right.
That's why we ensured that some of these loans will go into such projects. So that's the point. Let's not sit here and make things look like you had a special dispensation that NDC came and crumbled and the new path is taking us or creating that impression that you have about Ghana, that we are in distress. No. And thankfully, for us, we are expecting the NPP. We want to see what is in their manifesto that is different from what the situation is, so that we can really ping them very well and see who is propounding a better policy. If that hasn't come up, and they are just talking about distress, and despair, for us, we think that the cup is half full. If they continue to say it's half empty, that is how they look, they view things, and we don't have any problem with that.
Can we
All right.
Can we continue?
Can we continue with this? I want us to move on to another issue. Okay, quickly.
I think I checked on the online dictionary about the meaning of distress. And it says great pain, anxiety or sorrow, acute physical or mental suffering, affliction, trouble.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, if I get a call, I get a call from Nana, and I hear him at the background, he's not talking well. I mean, I can say that that's a distress call. And I decided to give the dictionary definition for Ghanaians to form their minds as to whether this country is in distress or not. But you see, very quickly, I mean, on this issue, it's a political year. I've had the opportunity of at least witnessing 2 political seasons where we've had a change of government. If you remember, in 2000 when Kofo came into power, his rallying call was what? Shawa Sitinem Netua Baba. That's check your life and vote. And as a matter of fact, what Kofo did was that he capitalized on the anger of Ghanaians and he propelled them to what? To fall in sync with his team. Shawa Sitinem Netua Baba. In 2008, if you remember, Mills said, look, I'm going to give you a better Ghana agenda. Hope. He told Ghanaians, look, even though your life is not the best, put your confidence in me and I'll give you a better Ghana agenda. The reason why I make these 2 scenarios is that, look, in elections, normally, where we have change of government, and in this particular instance, we have the sitting president contested, the NPP will have to be able to ignite. If there is really anger on the part of Ghanaians.
There's a crisis.
If there's distress
or crisis.
Or be able to give Ghanaians
A
what?
sense
Hope.
of, okay, yeah.
These 2 things. And that is what I'll be looking for when it comes to what? November 7th.
I perfectly agree with you.
Quickly go to the Ghanaian Times because we're running out of time. Now, there's a story, that's a front page story on the Ghanaian Times. It says that, let me quickly take 1 or 2 paragraphs of the story. Now, the EC, according to the story, has accepted to undertake a validation exercise to clean up the voters register to avoid any dispute during the 2016 general elections. Now, that's according to the commission's member in charge of the Upper West region, Hajia Sahadatu Maiga. That's where the story, the source is from. The commission's member in charge of the Upper West region. Now, she said the exercise to be undertaken as part of the exhibition of the register and the limited registration exercise from April 28 to May 5 would enable the commission to come up with a clean and credible register for the election. Now, she was speaking at a day's capacity building workshop for media practitioners in the region. And that's the story. And this was on Tuesday. It is now out in the Ghanaian Times and it's on the front page of the paper. So, Dr. Jinapo, this is perhaps, if I should sum it up, the bone of contention in what we're seeing now. Because some organizations and the MPP are suggesting that validation is the way to go. At a point in time, we have had the 5-member panel that was put together by the EC come out to say that in their report, they never spoke about validation as the only way out. Now, this is from the commission's member of the Upper West region. How can we situate this in this whole issue
don't just disturb yourself. Let me just respond to your question.
Okay.
The question is very, I don't want to get into the history of this validation exercise, but this story can be misleading.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying
very
to
misleading.
let us know the source
EC
and where
agrees
it
to
is coming
validate
from.
register. When I was driving here, I said, what's going on? I didn't. If you read the story, it's very clear. The lady says that, speaking at a day's capacity building workshop for media practitioners in the region, Hadia explained that the literal term validation meant the same thing as clean and audit.
Right.
But was used variously by different electoral management bodies across the globe. What she's saying is that we are going to open up a short-term registration exercise. And during that short-term registration, there's a direct quote. If you and I think that I'm not qualified to be in the register,
you can come in and
that is not what the NDP is asking for. Right. It's not what they're asking for. So I think moving forward, look, there's been so much, back and forth on this issue. I think we have too limited time for this thing to drag on. The various parties will have to sit down and try as much as possible to come to a consensus. But from what I see, I don't think the EC is ever prepared to go the MPP way.
The validation, the NPP way.
The MPP
right.
way. Because you see, my position on this validation, and it's my personal position, is that from what I understand, if, for instance, Eduasare registered at Adenta, and during validation, what it means is that he has to be there in person for them to check his data to to see if it conforms with what is in the computer. So if for some reason he is not able to go, he's not able to go. And you know, every time that we have election, we have something called verification.
Right.
And look at the percentage of people who go for verification. Usually Ghanaians don't patronize these things.
When the register is exhibited,
when the register is exhibited and all
facts.
those things, all they are interested in is that day for what? For election. You know, so I think the MPP genuinely believes that, look, something fundamentally is wrong with the register, and we need something cleaner than that.
Of course, the NDC agrees same too.
The NDC agrees to
Everybody
it,
agrees.
but yes, but the approach
To clean
is where the contention is, and I would wish that, look, I mean, there's IPAC. I understand when I heard Ofusu Ampofo yesterday, he said, look, this issue of validation has never come at IPAC, and I was so surprised. I was surprised that in spite of all this noise that we've been hearing, this thing has never come at IPAC. Then what is going on? Look, this story more or less is a reaffirmation of the stance by what? The Electoral Commission. So nobody should think that the EC has
It is the validation.
I think in principle,
MPP,
the whole confusion has been around the method for doing that.
Okay, let me pick Mr. Edwards Harris' thought on this validation issue and what we are getting from the Upper West rating.
Well, it's all about the semantics of the word validation and how people wish for it to be understood. You see, I think we have a system running, like Dr. Jinapo said. Every now and then, there's an opportunity for limited registration. There's an opportunity for people to go and check their names, and there's a procedure as the CI 72 requires that we follow in getting our register cleaned. For me, I think that's what the EC has decided from indications that I have. That is the system they are going to follow until I hear something different. Because this lady, as Doc said, is not saying anything different from what I know.
Right.
So these front page semantics, I don't know who it is targeting to mislead, but nothing to me has changed yet. And again, as I said, as he said, IPAC would have come out with this. We all belong to political parties, and if a station like this is going to change, it won't take the lady alone from Upper West to say it. It will be discussed thoroughly. All parties will get to the nitty-gritties of, especially when it has assumed such magnitude of discussion and demonstrations and all of these things. So overnight, these things cannot just be conjured into space. So for me, I think this caption is so misleading, and it doesn't suggest what the status quo as I know it is. Yeah.
Mr. Jackson?
Very well. I don't want to dwell too much on what is said here. I want to go back to the basics. It has been stated here, and it is that virtually everybody in this country agrees that going into this election, we must have a register that is credible. We must have a register that everybody is comfortable with. Look, the foundation of an election is the electoral list, electoral register. It is the basis for what will happen. And indeed, for me, it goes beyond just the election. It is about our democracy. Democracy is people making a choice as to who will govern. And that choice is based on an election. And the basis of the election is a register. Today, everybody, including the Electoral Commission, admits that there are problems with the register. Everybody, including the Electoral Commission, admits that there is something fundamentally wrong with the register. The committee of 5 thought that it might not be necessary to do a new register, but they themselves also admit and even put out definitive figures there may be over 600,000 that are dead, whose names are still on the register, and it is difficult. They go on to say that the method that has always been used, the exhibition, does not cure that mischief or that defect. Indeed, I didn't know, but I heard my brother speak on it. If I knew we were going to discuss this, I would have taken the direct quotes from the 77-page document. Indeed, in that 77-page document, I'm sure if he's listening, he can call in. At a certain stage, they use the word to validate. Okay.
The 5-member committee?
Yeah.
They have come out to say that they
no. It is the process. But what I am saying is this. As a people, as a nation, all of us are saying that there is a problem. The committee of 5 is saying that the method that you use every day will probably not cure that defect. So if you are insisting that, well, that is the only thing that we have, we are admitting that there is a problem. We are admitting that the method as it is currently does not cure that mischief. And my position is that you are seeing the danger coming, and you are saying that under the circumstances there is nothing I can do about it. Under the circumstances, well, this is all I have. I beg to say that then you are saying that if there are consequences, what can I do? Everybody is saying, everybody, including the NDC, is saying that this electoral list is flawed ab initio.
Nobody but they believe that the exhibition can be used to clean it.
Exactly. I am saying that in that, sometimes I think you should help us.
You mean
really and truly that the media people should help us. When we're going to discuss this.
You mean we should help the MPP?
No, you should help the discussion. You don't need to help the MPP. I think that we are capable by ourselves.
All right.
Maybe you should also go back and look at the recommendations made in the 77-page document. And then we could position this discussion appropriately. I am saying, based on my hearing of the reading of parts of the report. Okay, if you had it here, maybe we could make reference to it.
But this thing has been denied.
This position has been denied.
The member of the committee has actually denied it. I drew your attention.
Yes. It has been denied.
By who?
By Reverend Asante.
And so he said that he doesn't recollect that the word he uses. He does not recollect.
He knows what he wrote. They wrote.
He says he does not recollect.
But he said that the issue of validation, as it is understood by the NPP, was never recommended. That's what he said.
That's it. They've chosen to give it their own meaning.
But you see, Bright, the point is this.
Mr. Jacob, have you landed?
Oh no!
Okay. Let me get then. Doc, you go ahead.
I think that my position is very clear on the matter.
The MPP has this penchant for wanting things done their way. Other than that, that is it. You have members of IPAC,
yes,
okay, which you belong to, and several other political parties. They all have views. You go and sit on IPAC, decide on something. The next moment you step out,
and you are the same person who are saying that this matter has not been discussed at IPAC. So who has decided? But who has decided on it? For me, I think that I come from a tradition. And I am very proud of that tradition.
No. It's overbearing attitude.
All right.
That overbearing attitude and wants its views always carried out. Anything contrary to your view seems to be bad, seems to be wrong, and it's not right.
Hold fire.
Excuse me. You asked me whether I have landed. Let me just
land now. I'm getting
I have said that. I am very proud to be associated with a tradition that has persistently sought and improved electoral systems. We used to vote in black boxes. We used to do ID cards without pictures. We used to do
the cards were black and white pictures.
We used to do
colored. They came and changed it to black and white. It was colored. First one we used was colored.
That's a fact.
They changed it to black and white. So it's not like they've been improving all the time.
The NDC accuses us every day that we are the ones that said we wanted a biometric register. Now we've gotten a. I am happy that at any point in time, we are looking for the best way to improve the electoral system.
Okay, Mr. Jaku, you have landed.
For me, if all of us are saying that there is a problem, and everybody is saying
there will always be a problem. There will always be a problem because, right, one moment. Listen, there will always be a problem because, like our General Secretary said, the very day if they open the register today, and all of us go and register, by the time we get home from the registration, whatever, some will die. So please, there will always be a defect. So nobody should sit here and make it look like what we have can be cured by that one stroke of validation, and then we are done.
Why not?
By the next day,
why not?
We will have other problems.
Let me get
I am switching your microphone off.
Is in Nigeria.
The two of them, I'm switching your microphone.
But he's had his turn.
You've heard your turn. Let Dr. Chinapor come in.
Let's face it. It's quite surprising that today, 6 to 7 months to election, the whole issue surrounding the election is hinged on one term: validation. And it's interesting because we just didn't get to validation. If you look at the history of this whole register, at a point in time, if you remember, there was the saying that the voter register was bloated, so it needed to be changed. You understand? And there was some evidence that was being provided, i.e., if you remember Dr. Baumia's presentations about face stuff like that. And even if you remember, when it came to the issue of the EC composing this panel, there were questions and stuff like that. So the point that I'm trying to make is that at the end of the day, even though the NPP might have a legitimate, genuine case, their narrative has not been consistent when it comes to this issue. The narrative in terms of, one, we needed a new register. Two, look, we have evidence of people from Togo, which was just 10%. We have evidence of people from Burkina and Ivory Coast, which we are going to supply. As at now, we haven't supplied. You understand? Three, even the composition of this panel, some of them were deemed to be what? NDC. You understand? Names were out and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, as I've always said, look, the NDN is quite interesting and surprising that if the NDC and the NPP agree that this document is no good, one is saying, look, even though it's not good, let it go. One is saying that it's not good, let's change it. I think the whole thing boils down to trust. This whole validation, new voter register, it boils down to trust.
Trust in the Electoral Commission?
Trust in the sense that the NPP, I believe, still hold this position that the 2012 election, they should have won it. Something fundamentally was not done right. And one of the areas that they think was not done right is the voters register. That is the whole argument. If the NPP can be assured that, look, Edouard Sare was on the voters register, he's no more in this country, he's not going to vote, I don't think the NPP will have a problem. So it all boils down to a lack of trust.
But that is
where the whole problem is.
On the register,
that is where I have a problem.
Can they vote?
No, that is where I have a problem with. That's where I have a problem with no reference being made to validation. You know, one of the cardinal innovative things that happened with the 2012 registration was validation. It's not just about registering, but no validation, no vote.
That's right.
If we seriously adhere, if as the political party, the two say, look, this time, no validation, no vote. Period.
We don't need to be talking about validation.
No, but 2012, we know some people were not validated, but they voted. Yeah. So
when they can be on the roster, but once they cannot be validated on that day,
you can't vote.
They can't vote.
So if you transpose names from Togo into the Ghana region, they'll only be there. But if they are not validated, they will not vote. So I think that's the way to
Gentlemen, I'm sorry we have to wrap up the show. We've run out of time at this morning. Dr. Ahmed Jinapor is a lecturer.
Are we done?
We are done. We're done. He's a senior lecturer at the University of Education.
Excuse me.
Mr. Imale.
He said that...
I'm wrapping up, Mr. Jack.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that he says that our narrative has not been consistent.
Yes.
That is true.
And you want to... Because
we keep shifting the goalposts.
No.
When you are defeated on one, you move to another. That is where we are.
You see, in this life, you must create space. Life it's not inconsistent. What did we ask for? We said that because the electoral list was flawed, we must change it. The Electoral Commission thought otherwise. We said, okay.
Not the Electoral Commission. We all thought otherwise. Because the Electoral Commission thought otherwise. I said we all, because we parties were engaged.
It is not up to you.
We all came to the public forum and everybody gave their reason for whatever they wanted. And you fell flat.
Okay. All right. Let's wrap up, Rajem. I'm so grateful for your time.